Hey guys, today we are reacting to an absolutely explosive segment from Piers Morgan Uncensored. It's a heated, high-stakes debate between Mohammad Marandi, a professor from Tehran University, and Piers Morgan, and things get incredibly tense. They're diving into the massive military strikes against Iran, the future of the regime, and some serious allegations about what's actually happening on the ground. This isn't just a political chat. It's a full-on shouting match about free speech and war. I've summarized the key points for you, so let's dive right into it.
I'm joined now by Professor Mohammad Marandi of the Tehran University. Professor Marandi, welcome back to Uncensored. What is your reaction to what has happened in your country?
Well, just like 9 months ago, when the Iranians were negotiating with the Trump regime, the United States was secretly collaborating with the Netanyahu regime to carry out a blitzkrieg attack. And Witkoff, who was negotiating with the Iranians, initially said that enrichment is acceptable, and but he was lying, obviously. And he said that on Fox News. And then we ultimately saw, after round 5 of the negotiations and before round 6, the murderous war, the illegal war, which apparently, since now the West has imposed the law of the jungle across the world, is okay, according to your leaders and pundits. And what we saw this time around was the same. The Omani foreign minister, who was mediating, did not say anything similar to what Witkoff claimed just recently. He said progress was made. And ultimately, we saw what happened. Again, the United States, being a sinister regime, it carried out an assault. But this time around, the Iranians were prepared. They knew that they were lying.
But when you say Iran was prepared, 40 senior leaders, including the supreme leader, 13 top defense officials, were all confirmed dead on day 1 of the attacks. And, you know, if you actually look at the respective military power of the United States against Iran, on pure personnel, the United States has 1.3 million service men and women, Iran 600,000. Defense budget, United States $895 billion, Iran $15 billion. Aircraft, United States 13,300, Iran 550. Aircraft carriers, US 11, Iran 0. If it comes to a shooting match, as it currently is, how can Iran possibly expect to withstand the United States military? That's before we involve the Israelis. So do you accept that militarily this can only end one way if Iran continues to react the way that it's done, particularly if, as it brings in all the other Gulf states and is attacking all its neighbors, as Iran has been doing? Actually, it's achieving the opposite of what it would have hoped to have done. It's rallying the Gulf states behind Israel and America.
Well, first of all, these Gulf Arab family dictatorships, they host U.S. bases, and those bases are being used against Iran. So they are complicit in the murder of Iranians. They can't have their cake and eat it too. They cannot be a part of aggression and say that we are neutral. With regards to the number 40 that you say, that is American propaganda. The White House is always saying all sorts of nonsense. Far less people were killed this time around than last time around. The leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, he was martyred because he stayed at home. And he said, I'm not leaving my office and my home because many Iranians have nowhere to go, and so I cannot leave. And he chose to stay, even though everyone knew that he would be a primary target. Unlike your leaders and the Epstein class in your country, which do all sorts of things to ordinary people, he stood with his people, and he stayed with his people. And that's why he's so popular. And unlike the propaganda that we see on your show all the time with these insane pundits who've never been to Iran, who know nothing about Iran, who just repeat these Epstein-class talking points, the Iranian people are steadfast and standing beside and behind the Islamic Republic. And as we speak, across Tehran, under missile fire, you see huge crowds of people in different parts of the city protesting against the United States and calling for the armed forces to resist. And might does not make right. As I learned from school, children know this. We are in the right. Your regime, your government, the American regime, they supported the Holocaust in Gaza, the ongoing Holocaust in Gaza. We stood against it.
Okay, the point I would make.
No matter how.
Let me respond. Let me respond.
No matter how you try to frame it and pretend that we kill in Iran tens of thousands of people on the streets and all that fake media propaganda, the reality is the reason why Iran is hated is because we're against ethnic cleansing. We're against ethno-supremacism. And that is something that the Epstein class that rules over all of you cannot tolerate.
Well, no Epstein class rules over me. And the difference between me and you is I'm able to look at our leadership, from our Prime Minister to our former UK ambassador to America to the former Prince Andrew, and I'm able to publicly criticise them and say I find all of them, frankly, pretty deplorable and shameful to their country in the way they conduct themselves. You would never say that about your supreme leader, because had you said that on the airwaves, well, hang on. Because had you called your supreme, let me explain to you. Yeah, if you let you speak. Let me speak. Had you criticised your supreme leader while he was alive publicly, had you done it publicly in the way that I can do about my prime minister or my royal family or my ruling political class, then you would have disappeared from the airwaves extremely quickly. You and I know that. And when it comes to the reaction of the people on the street in your country, you would like everyone to believe it's all one way. Everyone's on the side of the regime that you've propped up for years. But I would show you this scene. Look at this and tell me what we're looking at. It looks like people to me celebrating the toppling of a statue of your dead supreme leader.
Wow, look at those millions of people on the streets. Stunning. Why don't you show the crowds that are 100 times larger in small cities than these crowds? Because you cannot do that. Because in order to remain on air, you have to pursue certain narratives. But if you were at my university and you were in my classroom, you would see students with all sorts of views saying whatever they want. A student would say, Iran is worse than North Korea. And I would laugh at him and make fun of him in a friendly way till the end of the semester. But you have this alternative Iran somewhere in the universe in your mind. And based on that, all your assessments are made.
Okay, well, criticize your regime then. Okay, well, criticize your regime then. If you've got such freedom of speech, criticize your regime right now. Go on.
Piers,
you can't, can you? Piers, you're full of hot air. You remind me of Comical Ali in the Iraq War, who kept just talking complete nonsense about his ruling, his regime and ruler. The problem is I don't know how to deal with your. Be quiet for a second and let me respond. Well, criticize your regime. Go on.
I know you're afraid. Be quiet. Let me respond.
I'm not afraid of anything.
Don't be so afraid. In Iran, we talk against the government, against policies day and night. You sit in a taxi, they're criticizing. You're on campus, they criticize.
I wanted you to criticize your regime right now.
No, I'm not going to. When you give me 5 minutes.
No, you're not going to, are you? Because you're a coward. And you're a paid up stooge of the regime. And you know if you do criticize them, they'll take you off the airwaves. Your job is to get on the airwaves and promote the regime. That's why you can't criticize them.
Yeah.
And if you could criticize them, you would.
Are you going to let me talk, or are you just too cowardly to let me talk? You're afraid of me.
I asked you a question. You wouldn't do it.
You're a coward.
You can't do
Piers.
it, can you?
You're a coward. I'm not
I'm
going
the coward.
to criticize.
I can criticize my regime. I can tell you, I think Prime Minister Starmer has been a complete dud.
My country.
What are you going to say about your regime?
My country is under airstrikes from your criminal regime, your Epstein regime. My country, the people in my city are being slaughtered by your garbage regime, and you want me to sit
actually,
here
the people in your country were slaughtered by your regime, weren't they? Only a few weeks ago, up to 30,000 of your people were slaughtered by your regime, weren't they?
Okay, Piers, forget it. If you don't want me to talk, I'll just sit down. You do the talking.
Well, I tell you what, we'll end it like this. I've had you on my show many, many times, right? When do I get invited on Iranian state television? Ah, you've gone.
I invited you to Iran, Piers. I invited you to Iran.
I'll do it like you do. I'll do it like you do. Down the barrel of a camera, you put me on Iranian state television and let me say what I think about Iranian state television in the way that I let you come on my show and criticize my country and the United States and the West. Fair's fair, right, Professor? Because you've got freedom of speech in Iran. There should be no problem in me, Piers Morgan, going on Iranian state television and hammering your regime. Only you won't let that happen, and the regime won't let it happen, because amongst the many things that you repress, the biggest thing you repress is freedom of speech. That's why you can't talk out against your regime, and that's why you wouldn't let me go on state TV in Iran and talk out against your regime. And that is the difference between us. So you can try and take the high moral ground, but the reality is that is the difference.
You are a genocide supporter. You supported it in Israel, in Palestine, and you refused to come to Iran. And I invited you twice.
I literally did the opposite, actually. I literally did the opposite. And you should watch Uncensored more often.
On your regime TV, you don't even let me talk. You don't know anything about Iran, and you just talk and talk and talk, and you're afraid of me saying a single sentence. Iran is being bombed by your regime. Our children are being slaughtered. As we speak, your regime is bombing my country, and your regime sent in intelligence, the Israeli Mossad, the CIA, according to the former head of the CIA, according to the Mossad itself, they sent in people to infiltrate. According to Channel 14 of Israeli TV, which is close to Netanyahu, they brought in weapons that killed hundreds of police officers and volunteers on the streets. So the 3,117 people who were killed, and all of them have their ID and information, they're well known. If you have any extra names, give them to me and let's see what your evidence is. All of those people are recognized. And wait a moment. Wait a moment. And if there was one police officer killed in your country, what would the reaction be? Some young woman was turning to the right. They shot her in the face. Here they killed 200 police officers and well over 100 volunteers on the streets. And you call that peaceful protest, but you ignore the millions of people on the streets as we speak in Tehran right now.
Yeah, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Let me respond. I can tell you.
I wanted to bring something for you to see, but forget it. Just one final sentence. For 47 years, you have been, your government, your regime, your media has been saying Iran is unpopular. Iran is about to fall. The regime is collapsing. And it never happened. And do you know what? That is exactly the same thing that your media and your governments would say about Mossadegh. When he was in power, they were saying he's evil, he's criminal, he's corrupt. Go and look at the New York Times, the Washington Post. It's always the same. Your problem is that we are independent and that we do not accept the Epstein class that rapes and murders little kids. We don't accept them murdering our kids. We will not allow your regime to kill our kids and get away with it.
Okay, I understand. But I would say in return that your regime the Iranian regime for the last 47 years has waged systematic, barbaric repression against its own people, suppressed free speech. It has killed thousands of protesters. You say, what would happen if it happened here? Let me tell you, if thousands of protesters got shot dead in the street of Britain, the people responsible would be brought down from power extremely quickly. And the Iranian regime has also sponsored terrorism all over the Middle East, from the Houthis to Hezbollah to Hamas. But you consistently deny that because you're comical alley. You're the guy they put up on TV to say the sky may look blue to you, but you know where I am, it's green. And that's the problem. But Professor, it's always good to have you on Uncensored. And the truth is, I let you come on here and you can say what you want to say, but you never ever let me on state TV in Iran. I look forward to my first invitation. Why don't you get me on, have a word with the regime and get me on state TV tomorrow, down the barrel of a camera like you, and I'll say what I think of the regime on state TV in Iran. Have we got a deal?
Come to Iran. Don't be cowardly and come to Iran.
Oh, well, you come to London then. Get on a plane.
You come here. You want to see? You want to see state TV?
I thought so.
Come to Iran.
Let the record show. Let the record show. I can't go on state TV like this, like you do, because you won't let me. And secondly, that I've given you repeated chances to criticize your regime, and you have bottled it because you know what would happen if you did. Professor Marandi. No, I'm going to leave it.
Come to Iran, and you and I will debate on Iranian TV.
Yeah, you come to London, and we'll have a chat.
Do that.
Good to talk to you, Professor.
I will do that, Piers. I will do that.
Great.
You come to Iran.
Great. I'll see you in London.
I will show you around the buildings that you helped justify the slaughter of all these women and children. But after that, I'll take you to Press TV and have a debate with you in studio where it will be broadcast and everyone can see it.
Perfect.
Is that good?
Perfect. Yeah. But I'll do it the way you do it, down the barrel of a camera. Professor Marandi, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.